Old Glory, the Star-Spangled Banner, our American flag. For generations, it has been the symbol of our country, the badge of our nation, and the mark of the men and women who fought bravely to protect its meaning. At Brunswick Area Television, we are proud of the members of our armed forces and we thank them for their service. If you know a military veteran, an active duty service member, or a hero who bravely gave their life to defend our nation, let us know by visiting www.brunswick.oh.us. And again, thank you for your service.
I'm Ed Zackery, Director of the Medina County Veterans Service Office. Welcome to Salute to Service, a show about Medina County and our veterans. What we hope to capture in this program are some of the many achievements, heroic deeds, and sacrifices of our past and present warriors from here in Medina County. We also hope to highlight the many accomplishments that they have continued to make as veterans right here in our community. Again, welcome to Salute to Service. Today we're here with Mr. Richard Roumford. He is a U.S. Navy veteran of World War II. How are you doing today, Richard?
Pretty good.
Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You're a Navy veteran, obviously, World War II. What kind of ships were you on?
Always destroyers.
Always destroyers. And what did you do in the Navy on the destroyers?
Well, I was a second-class petty officer in fire control.
Fire control?
And that's controlling the firing of the guns.
Okay.
The gunner's mates loaded them, and we put them on target, and I was the one at 20 years old that pulled the trigger.
Okay, so in the Army we call that a fire direction officer or something
Right.
like that. I'm an Army guy, so you're going to have to help me with the Navy stuff. What kind of, were they 5-inch guns, 7-inch guns?
They were 5-inch guns. They fired a 58-pound projector and 28 pounds of powder behind it.
Wow, that's a pretty good
And
projectile.
They could shoot 9 miles.
That's pretty good. How many guns on the ship?
Well, the main battery, they had six, well, there were twin mounts. There were 3 twin mounts, so it was six guns.
Now, can you shoot those one gun at a time, or do you got to shoot both barrels out of each?
They shoot all 6 guns at the same time.
At the same time, on the same target, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of firepower coming down on somebody.
Well, we put up 6 shells every 4 seconds.
Wow, that is a lot. That's a lot of hustling for the guys loading them. Now, did they load automatically, or did you have loaders that were loading the shells?
No, the gunner's mates loaded them at the guns. I
stuffed the
fired
powder
them
behind them. And
I fired them at the stable element. The stable element is a gyro, and when you put pressure on a gyro, it pushes back. So a lot of people don't know it, but we had computers back in the World War II, and the director, which is on top of the ship, on top of the bridge, picks up the target, sends a signal down to the computer, and the ship's speed and direction goes into the computer. Wind speed, wind direction goes into the computer. And then the stable element goes into the computer to correct for the roll and pitch of the ship.
wow,
So that means when you see a gun out like this, and the ship is rolling and pitching out here, what's keeping that gun on target is
the computer.
computer.
Wow.
The computer figures the lead angle. Where is that target going to be when the shell gets up there? And sends a signal back out to the guns and puts them on target.
That's amazing.
It also sends a signal back to the director. And if they're not exactly staying on target, there's 4 men up there and the director, and they'll push a lever and put the hairlines on,
Adjust
keep it on.
Keep it on target.
So always continuously is going down to a correction to the computer.
Huh, that's amazing.
But-
Now, you joined the Navy, you drafted or enlisted or?
Well, at that time, you were called up,
Right.
and I chose the Navy.
Why did you choose the Navy?
I chose the Navy for a selfish reason. I didn't want to go into foxhole and get
Oh,
all
okay.
muddy and dirty. And
I always hear it's because of the chow. I don't know.
I thought it was. I thought the bed, nice bunk bed and chow, and
There you go.
and the living conditions were a lot better than probably going into the Army or something like that.
So you were on the USS
Aaron Ward.
Aaron Ward, and it was a destroyer. Now, where'd you guys? Obviously, you sailed over the Pacific. Where'd you sail out of?
San Diego,
San Diego.
San Pedro.
And where'd you go? I mean,
Well, the USS Aaron Ward, I was aboard it when it was commissioned and aboard it when it was decommissioned, which was only 11 months.
so it was commissioned in San Diego then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we took it out on a shakedown cruise and did a firing and with 11 other destroyers. And we felt pretty good because we were the top gun.
There you go.
of the
That's
12
an honor. Did you get a
12
special
ships.
guide on or flag or something that you got to fly on the ship?
Well, we had a Commodore on
Okay,
board.
there you go.
So anyhow, we put the 40 millimeters on main battery computer, and that took care of the stable. The stable element took care of the roll and pitch of the ship, and I lined up the ship guns. And I had previously had right out of boot camp. I went to a fire control school, and the top 3 men in the class then went to advanced fire control school in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
for another 6 months, and then I went to mustering petty. I was a mustering petty officer on Treasure Island off of Frisco, and went from there to San Diego, and took the ship out. But I lined up the guns and put them
On the target.
on the target.
So when you sailed, you sailed out of San Diego, and the war was going on already, I assume.
Yeah.
So we're, December 7th had already happened, Pearl Harbor. Where did you go? I mean, what?
Well, of course, the first stop, we stopped at Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
We tied up alongside.
You were part of a larger fleet, I assume, too.
Yeah. We tied up alongside another destroyer who had it was probably, he had taken a bomb, and he was coming back in from the Pacific, and we tied up alongside him, and we're pretty cocky because we were top dog.
Brand new ship and everything.
Yeah, brand new ship, and I said to the fellow, "What's the matter? You let those Japanese get that close that they could drop a bomb on you like that, And all he said to me was, "Wait till you get out there, you'll see what it's all about."
And you did see.
And we did see.
You did see. Now, you sailed Pearl Harbor. You were, one of the larger battles you were in was the Battle of Okinawa, correct?
Yeah. We sailed from Okinawa, from Pearl Harbor to Ulithi. And part of the task force that went into Okinawa formed there. We escorted carriers over from Pearl to Ulithi, and we were there for one reason, to take Okinawa. And when we were going over there, we did hit a subcontract, and we made one pass on it, and we didn't go back because a carrier and a destroyer can outrun a sub, and
So you just,
that wasn't our main
Right, you don't want-
objective.
right.
Our main objective was to get the fleet over there.
now were you, for the submarines, were you laying mines, or did you have those depth charges or whatever? What were you?
Well, no, when we went in for the sub, we used a depth charge.
Okay.
And they drop the 600 pounders off the back, and they shoot the 150 pounds.
Okay, and those, they look
out
like a
the
big
side.
50-gallon drum almost, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always saw that in the movies, like a big slingshot. They're
Yeah.
like,
And the irony of the whole thing is the ones that are manning that aren't necessarily fire controlmen. They're crewmen.
Right.
And one of the depth charges that went out the side didn't fire, and it stayed in the cradle.
Oh, that's not good.
And he was so excited, and he was only maybe he weighed 160 pounds. He picked that 150 pound depth charge out of the cradle, lifted it up,
And threw it.
and threw it over the side. But what he didn't know was the depth charge is the charge is set at a certain depth.
Oh, okay.
So unless the thing goes off and goes down to that depth,
doesn't go off.
it doesn't go off because there's a membrane in there that breaks when it gets pressure gets to that depth.
Oh, okay. So it's not like it's a trigger once it gets
No,
set.
it
it's
would
gonna-
have never gone off on
Yeah.
board ship, but he thought it was, and he was so excited that he threw it over the side. But if you ever see a movie about a submarine and you hear them depth charges,
Right.
you'll hear a click, click, and then boom. And what it is the membrane breaking sets off a little charge that sets off the big charge.
explosion. Now you went into Okinawa. You guys partaked in the Battle of Okinawa, which is a pretty significant battle. That was they were trying to build an air base there and everything. And you had mentioned earlier that you guys were part of a larger task force of destroyers that set up a perimeter.
Yeah, some of them came in from Guam.
Pickett's destroyers, you called them?
Picket stations.
Picket
yeah.
stations. Okay.
What we did is, well, first of all, we went in about 2 days before the Marines and swept 4 beaches.
4 beachheads.
Of mines. And we went in behind the mine sweeps, and they brought them to the surface. And then we put our 40 millimeter guns on main battery, and we just aimed above the mine. When they brought them onto the surface, we aimed above the mine and fired. And as the swells of the water brought it up to cross the line of fire, it exploded. But we're traveling at a pretty good rate of speed because we were so close to the shore
Right.
that you could
You didn't wanna
distinguish the
get hit,
leaves
yeah.
on the trees.
Yeah, you don't want to get
In
hit.
fact, we were so close that we scraped our sonar gear, which is on the bottom of the ship, and had to get it repaired because we couldn't pick up the sub contacts in.
Now, once after the Battle of Okinawa took place and everything, you guys had these picket stations set up. It was kind of like a radar screen. Pretty significant event took place on your ship.
Yeah, we were at Picket Station 1 first, and they were planes coming in from Japan. That was north of us.
Japanese planes.
Japanese
There you
planes. And the Japanese, at the time we took Okinawa, had about 8,000 planes, and they lost more than half of them through kamikazes and air battles.
Right.
But anyhow, the first picket station we were at was 10, and Tokyo, we were at battle stations all night long, and we didn't fire on them unless they were so close that we thought that they'd spotted us
Right.
at night. So we only fired on just ones that
They were coming in towards you.
were coming in. Our duty was to, when the enemy planes were coming in, we'd spot them and tell them 4 bogeys coming in at such and such an altitude. And then we'd radio them, and they'd send interceptors out. And we could see the interceptors coming in and meeting the Japanese planes
Right.
coming into the island. And we could tell which ones were our planes and which ones were the enemy because of an instrument called IFF, Identification Friend or Foe.
Identify friend or foe.
Yeah, and so they would knock the enemy down. But we were at battle stations all night, and we had shot up within 10% of our ammunition. So we were relieved the next morning. Our call letter was mongoose. It's a rat killer that they used in Hawaii. And all night long you'd hear, mongoose reporting raid 76 coming in at such and such an altitude. And then anyhow, at 8 o'clock the next morning we were relieved by another destroyer. And at 8:30 we were taking ammunition alongside an ammunition ship. And Tokyo Rose came on the air and said, we are happy to announce that we have just sunk Mongoose. A funny feeling. And there we are sitting alongside this ammunition ship, taking on ammunition, and a suicide plane came in, and we thought it was going to hit the ammunition ship. And when you see an ammunition ship go up, the explosion goes 20 times the height of the ship.
Now, did the kamikaze hit you guys?
No, not there. We got away from that ammunition ship so fast.
As quick as could be. There you go.
We took hatchets and chopped the
ropes.
The ropes, because we didn't want to take time to untie them. Right. Well, we got stationed after we fixed our sonar gear. We went to Picket Station 10. It was May the 3rd. Okay. And they were coming in from an island off China, and I think they had an I-beam or a beam of some sort guiding them in, and they were just a little bit out of our range. So we asked permission to move our picket station over a little bit, which we got permission, and we moved the picket station over. And the next night, about 50 enemy Japanese planes came over. We had 2 destroyers and a couple other small landing crafts.
Now, your ship wound up taking 6 kamikaze hits.
Yes. And we had a coverage of 4 F-4U Corsairs, and we sent them out to intercept 50 enemy planes.
That's not going to do much, yeah.
No. Anyhow, they got by the planes, and they were coming in, so we told our planes to stay outside 9 miles because we're going to open up on anything that came in. We took 6 kamikaze planes, hit us, smashed into the ship, and we lost our steering and our guns in the rear. When we lost our steering, it was a bad thing, because when your ships like this and the enemy planes come in to you and they want to bomb this way.
Across the ship, right.
Yeah, not this way.
Right.
We want to go this way.
You want to turn. Well, you can't navigate it. You can't turn if you ain't got no steering, right?
Can't turn. But we wanted to go this way so all our guns could train out on that target, see. Well, it was a disadvantage to us, and we did take 6 kamikazes and 3 bombs.
But you stayed afloat.
We were 4 inches out of the water, dead in the water, and
you brought in some great pictures that show how low in the water that ship was compared to where it should have been. Yeah.
We were only 4 inches out of the water. It's a good thing it was a calm night, and there wasn't any waves, because we would have sunk.
You would have been capsized or something. Yeah. So obviously, you guys fought back and everything, and then you mentioned that you actually took the ship in for repairs or to scuttle it or something like that after the battle.
Yeah, we took it into Crimeretta Bay, which is a little south of and west of Okinawa. It's one of the islands there. And we wanted to go into dry dock to fix it up. They wanted to scuttle us. But our skipper says, the USS Aaron Ward brought my men out here, and the USS Aaron Ward is going to take them back to the States.
And you sailed it all the way back home?
We sailed it 12,000 miles back to Brooklyn Navy Yard.
I'll be darned. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. 6 inches out of the water.
Well,
worried about...
by the time they fixed us up, we come back on 1 screw and one engine.
The screw's the propeller, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You usually have 2.
2.
We had 1 engine room and 1 fire room, and we usually have 2 of each of those. An engine room and a fire room control 1 screw. And when you don't have only one engine room and one fire room,
Right. You kind of sail a little slow.
Yeah. No, we could still do 19 knots.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, that's amazing.
And when we were coming back, there was a ship sunk just north of us, around Eniwetok, and our skipper asked permission to go up and pick up survivors. Well, we were so fragile that we couldn't fire a gun, so we really had to dodge any enemy
Right.
coming back, and we were refused to go up. They didn't want us to go up there. They wanted us back in the States. So,
You know, just before we close, I just want to mention your skipper. You had said he mailed the crew that was, survived that attack throughout the years every Christmas a letter, which really was a book. It wasn't a letter.
Yeah.
It kept you guys in touch with what everybody was doing, and that's
Yeah.
a camaraderie that, I think you're only going to find in the military.
yeah, he was. The crew would do anything for the skipper. I was 20 years old, and he was 35.
He was the old man.
He was the old man.
He was the old man, yeah.
But you'd go up on the bridge. He always smoked his pipe, and he always had a hat on. And when you go by the bridge, he'd take that pipe and he'd go like this to acknowledge you.
Well, Richard, I want to thank you for coming by today and sharing your story. Folks out there, Richard Roumford, U.S. Navy veteran from Medina, Ohio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Hello, I'm General Colin Powell. The Vietnam Wall is one of the most visited memorials in Washington. There is magic in that wall with its 58,000 names. We want to make sure those names never become anonymous to future generations. The new education center at the wall will keep the memories alive and pay tribute to all generations of GIs who answered the call to serve. Help us make this beautiful center a reality. Thank you.
This program was brought to you by the same men and women that also brought you your freedoms. Thank you for watching Salute to Service.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. At IAVA.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
You're watching The Bat.
In the year 2000, Brunswick's history found a home at 4613 Laurel Road, now known to our community as Heritage Farm. Its mission is to preserve our past and showcase it for generations to come. Our volunteers have worked for decades collecting and archiving Brunswick's transition from a farming community to a bustling city. But over the years, nature takes its toll on historical artifacts and the places that hold them dear. We need your help to keep the memories safe. Becoming a member of the Brunswick Area Historical Society will help generate the funds necessary to keep the farm and the memories alive. Individual memberships start at just $15. Corporate giving starts at $100. And of course, your volunteer service at Heritage Farm is priceless. Join the drive to save our history. For membership information, visit us on the web at www.brunswickhistory.com.